Creating characters for games, or specifically for gentlemen, is a bit of a hassle. You have to think how they will look like, in terms of design and animations, how they behave, how they fit into the world of your game, and why they are even there in the first place. At Hexcot, we've been pushing the boundaries for character development quite far, even for modern game standard. And that's because, as long as it fits visually, we can allow ourselves to be loose with the designs and the stories we put in our game. From that standpoint, gentlemen will be kinda gimmicky, wicked and just weird. You have moss guts, wooden knights, guns, armor, living pipes, weird soul-trapping magic, which is still in the development. There is nothing we cannot justify putting in this game. So, when one of our members came up with the idea of creating characters made out of hair, I was hooked. Instantly. Redcaps and the Bucketmen are two new additions to the Gentleman family. As the title suggests, they are all made out of hair. But not your regular human hair. There are no humans in the world of gentlemen, and sadly, all gentlemen are bald. But out of magic hair strands from Suing Dreamers. And before I say more about Redcaps or the Bucketmen, let's talk a little about their progenitors. But by the way, in the background, you can see some of the parts of the design process for those characters. It was a long process, took many trials and errors, but for now, I'm happy with what we have. So, the Suing Dreamers are not completely understood by the inhabitants of Mossland. They are supernatural creatures that by some could be considered deities. They have many similarities to the other mysterious groups of creatures, namely mimics. Unfortunately, this video won't cover them. So until then, stay tuned for a future video delving into some of the deeper mysteries of Mossland. Back on the topic of dreamers, it is said they are responsible for keeping the people's dreams from getting out of hand. They shelter every sleeping person from nightmares, and they make sure everyone has nice and peaceful dreams. But how do they do that? They inhabit the plane of dreams, which is similar to the plane of souls. Both are, in a sense, made out of memories. Stay tuned for a video covering that too. It could be said that the dreamers possess two bodies, one inside the dream world and one in the real world. The latter resembling a large hairy creature made out of aforementioned magic strands of hair. In the material plane, they simply sleep. They sleep all the time, forever locked in a state of slumber. But while the material bodies rest, they wander throughout the world of dreams, constantly seeking out for the signs of nightmares. Nightmares in gentlemen are not your typical bad dreams. Inhabitants of Mossland can be attacked and even corrupted by a nightmare. But the process is slow. Corruption takes a lot of time, but even one nightmare in someone's head will suffice to shatter even the strongest of minds. And what happens to those corrupted by a nightmare? If you have watched my video about Bloom and Gloom, you will have a rough idea what could happen. But for those of you who have never watched this video, and to elaborate more on the subject, when you get corrupted by a nightmare, parts of your soul get mangled and distorted by it. As a result, you're getting changed, and later on transformed into something evil. Creatures like Bloom and Gloom, for example, were born out of souls of people corrupted by powerful emotions. In the case of Gloom, sadness and longing. Dreamers prevent most of such happenings by pulling out bad dreams from the heads of vulnerable sleeping citizens. This way, they can keep the nightmares at bay, so every creature on the plane of Mossland can have a peaceful sleep and happy life. And what happens to those nightmares? Nightmares are stored in the form of hair strands. When it comes to the dreamers, the hair exhibits frankly interesting properties. By the process, they redact rogue memories and perfectly encapsulate them inside the strands of hair. Common belief is that they care for the people. But from my observations, they never treat the source of the problem, only feeding on the symptoms. They are peculiar creatures, I suspect something sinister about them. The strands come in handy in plethora of spiked machinations, one of which being the production of creatures like redcaps and the Bucketman. For that purpose, the strands are weaved using devices called nightmare looms. Bucketmen are a peculiar bunch, roaming throughout the entirety of Mossland in search of a new adventure. On their journeys, they offer help to anyone in need, and they never turn down even the hardest of challenges. From killing a mighty dragon to helping a young girl find her lost teddy bear, they are always up to the task with broad smiles on their faces. But while doing so, they often find themselves in a plethora of different weird situations. Like, for example, who would have thought the mighty dragon will turn out to be a simple mouse? Or that a lost teddy bear will burn to ashes while trying to get him out of a hole behind the furnace? Bucketmen constantly find themselves in such situations, but they accept each failure with a smile and continue on with their journeys. At this point, I want to introduce you to the self-proclaimed knight and the leader of the Bucketmen, Sir Chivalry. He's courageous, smart, and definitely not full of himself. You can see him almost always on the horseback of his favorite pure black mare. As he says, true knights ought to be at least 2 hats taller than everyone else. For this guy, I am planning a separate video in the future, so stay tuned. In the actual game, I imagine Bucketmen with their specific quest lines. Maybe we should really think about helping them slay a dragon or help Knight Chivalry recover his lost horse, if he actually lose one. If you happen to read Don Quixote, you may recognize my inspiration for those characters. But in terms of the design and the possible look in our game, I took inspiration from Asterix and Obelix. Excellent cartoon, if you haven't watched it, I highly advise you to do so. It's amazing, trust me. I wanted them to express emotions through their elongated mustaches and beards. I tried to draw a couple of possible variations, but this part is still uncertain and under development. They're all wearing sort of one-piece pyjama with the hairy insides sticking out of it in certain places. Every Bucketman has his own preferred weapon, and here I wanted to emphasize how their attacks may look like, even though they probably never going to use their weapons in the game. So, the big guy will have a big mace. Short but slim one will have a little oversized lance, and the Knight Chivalry will use a big lance and probably a horse if he can find one to fight his foes. Lastly, coming back to the Redcaps, in game they will be a type of enemy. First thing coming to mind is puppets of spite. They are quite the opposite of the Bucketmen, lacking free will and emotion, beings purely designed for a purpose of causing chaos. So what will they look like? I think Spite would prefer them to wear his emblem or something that will represent their purpose and belonging. So I designed them with a cape hanging on their chests. I left myself a possibility of placing Spite's emblem there in the future. If you're interested in hearing more stories from Mossland, refer to the description where you can find links to the videos related to this one. And that's it for today's video. If you liked it, share your thoughts in the comments down below. Also, if you're interested in watching more of the Gentleman content, feel free to subscribe to my channel for more videos in the future. That being said, stay safe and have a great day. Bye!